Good morning to all the students. In the series what we have started previously for the engineering physics topic superconductivity, we will continue the lecture. But before entering into the new content, let's revise the thing whatever we have discussed up till now. We talked about certain things in the part of superconductivity. These are the topics which we are supposed to cover in the syllabus. Amongst them, we have already completed concepts of superconductivity, temperature dependence of resistance for the metals, properties of superconductor we were discussing, and we will continue in the same line and we will complete types of superconductors, high temperature superconductors, and application of superconductors in a continuous lecture. These were the things we were talking about. Introduction, why we need a superconductivity, and we talked about a shortage of energy or crisis of energy in the future, and quite much loss is occurring into the present system. That's we already discussed. Now if we try to find out a solution for that, the idea is only superconductivity. All these things we have already discussed. What is superconductivity? Material which is offering zero resistance to the current flowing through it, that is called superconductor. But that is not the material, it is a property of material which it is gaining when we make a certain conditions, and the conditions are we need to decrease the temperature, and from that also we are getting a definition of critical temperature, the temperature at which the material is going to lose its total resistance or almost resistance, that we are calling it transition temperature. And certain materials, those who are not offering that kind of nature, and they continue to offer certain resistance, we call them material which are having a residual resistivity and they don't exhibit their conductive property. So in continuation with that, we talked about a variation of resistance with respect to temperature. Then after that we entered into the part certain more definitions. These were the questions we already answered. History part, Kamerlingh-Onnes, who has discovered this phenomena, and after that the whole surge was started. This is the photograph of Kamerlingh-Onnes and the laboratory. We already talked about them. And then after that we started the properties of superconductor. In that we talked about electrical properties, zero resistance, almost negligible resistance they are offering, that's what we talked about. Then persistent current, that also we talked about. If we allow current to flow through that, we will not find any potential gradient or difference at 2 points available in the closed loop. So that is persistent current we observe. After that we talked about the magnetic properties of the superconductor, in that perfect diamagnetic behavior, and we have discussed how perfect diamagnetic behavior is also exhibited with the help of theoretical proof of that. Then after that we talked about a Meissner effect, and critical magnetic field also one of the concept. If we apply a field more than the critical magnetic field, then under the influence of that magnetic field we can destroy the magnetic superconducting property of material. So that we talked about, and how it is related with the temperature or critical temperature, that also we discussed. This is a very important equation in terms of numerical calculations also. So you need to remember these equations and terms involved in that. Then after that we talked about a critical current, because the superconductors which we are supposed to use in terms of current carrying wires. So if we allow the current to flow through that, they'll create a magnetic field, and due to that magnetic field also superconducting state may be destroyed, and for that we are deriving a definition of critical current that we already talked about. And here we use Ampere circuital law to derive that relationship. If we go further, the things are thermal property. This is the little bit different topic compared to the normal whatever we were talking about, because here we need to talk about solid state physics, and in that case we are talking about heat energy and heat capacity. So among them, entropy is one of the important word. Entropy is a measure of disorderedness, but it is caused by the energy. So here if we talk about entropy of the superconductor, then we are having a normal material, and if we decrease the temperature it gets into the superconducting state. So if we compare both the state, normal state and superconducting state, we come to know that in superconducting state they are more stable, more we can say ordered. And here the graph is plotted for tin, the superconducting material. For that you can see that the two curves are there, SN and ST, SN and SS. SN stands for superconductivity of a normal material, and SS stands for superconductivity specific heat of it's given entropy for superconductors. In that case, we can see that small curve below the line, and that shows in a superconducting state the entropy decreases. And then after that, there is one more point: specific heat and specific heat capacity. These are the two properties of the material. And you know the definition. Previously you have studied in 11th standard that if you want to raise the temperature by unit degree Celsius for unit mass, then we need to provide certain amount of energy. So that is called specific heat. And here the same thing. If we want to observe the change in the temperature of the material, either in a normal state or in a superconducting state, we need to provide energy. And how it is varying, if we talk about two states, then how it is going to vary, that's what it is discussed in this particular point. Specific heat of the superconductor is, if we compare with the normal state, then in a normal state CV, that is specific heat at a constant volume, that is equal to gamma T. It's proportional to the absolute temperature T in Kelvin. Then if you talk about superconductors, in that case it is not following the same scenario, but it is given by this equation: CV is proportional to e raised to minus delta T upon T into KB, that is a Boltzmann constant. So if you observe this kind of behavior, or if you try to plot that variation for certain material, we observe such kind of thing. As it is plotted in a graph, what variation we can observe as you move from zero Kelvin temperature to the higher temperature, you will see that there is a one curve which is making a peak and then it is falling down. So what is happening in those cases, that as we move further, as we increase the temperature closer to transition temperature, it requires more energy. So specific heat at we can say nearby position of transition temperature, it is quite high in the case of superconductors, and other than it is going to follow the normal trend as it is following previously and after that transition. So this is the very little bit change from the normal state of the material. Superconductor, they behave a little bit different manner in the case of specific heat. Then if you talk about thermal conductivity is also one of the important parameter. Previously you have studied the metals, they are conducting heat. In that case, what was happening? So if you apply a temperature gradient at the two ends of the metals, then due to their free electrons, they conduct certain amount of energy, and along with that, due to the thermal agitation of the molecules, energy propagates. But it was depending on the temperature difference, it was depending on the nature of the material. You have remembered all those things. Now if we talk about the superconductors, what kind of variation we are observing over here, that is given with the example here. If we talk about the thermal conductivity of superconductor compared to the normal state, here superconductors, they are becoming little bit lethargic. So they don't help in that much we can say better manner compared to the normal state. So in normal state, material offers quite good conductivity, but in a superconductors, they reduce that nature, they reduce that conductivity, and the graph is given below. And in that graph, data are matching in this manner. 34 watt per centimeter Kelvin, it is the approximate conductivity at 6 Kelvin in a normal state. But if we talk about the superconductors, at 4 Kelvin it offers only 16 watt. So if you compare the two data, it is almost half of the superconducting normal state. In a normal state, they conduct quite nicely, but in the case of superconductor, they are becoming we can say more lethargic, and they offer only half conductivity. Then if you talk about a mechanical property in terms of if we make a change in a certain mechanical factors, then what kind of behavior superconductor they are going to exhibit. And one of them is effect of pressure or stress. If we talk about any material, how are they going to offer a superconducting state or not, that we can decide with the help of decreasing the temperature T below Tc and keeping the magnetic field, applied magnetic field below Hc. So that we know very well. But certain materials, those who are not offering superconducting state, they may also start offering superconducting state by applying a large pressure. And here one of the example that is given, cesium. Cesium will exhibit such kind of thing. If the material cesium, if you consider a normal state, they don't offer any superconducting state, but under the influence of quite large pressure and decreasing the temperature, we will observe that at about 1.5 Kelvin they start exhibiting superconductivity. So cesium as such, it's not exhibiting superconductivity, but under the influence of pressure or stress, we can observe superconducting state. But one difficulty is also there. The temperature is critical temperature is quite low. As you can observe, it's 1.5 Kelvin, very close to 0 Kelvin. So it's very difficult to gain that temperature and gain superconductivity in the case of cesium. But obviously previously it was not offering, and now it is offering, so it's a better thing. Now if we talk about impurity, effect of impurity. So if you make a manipulation in the material, if you add some kind of other material, or this is actually we are talking about isotopic mass change. So if you talk about addition of certain isotopes or proportion of isotopes, if it is varying, then in that case superconducting state is also changing. It is not observed that the Tc is remaining constant, but Tc is going to vary according to that. There is a variation in isotopic mass. So here one example is given for Tc value for mercury. If it is 199.5, that is isotopic mass, if we change it from 203.4, then in that case critical temperature value is also going to vary. 4.185 Kelvin, that is offered for 199.5 isotopic mass mercury. But if we move to the higher masses or change the mass, then in that case Tc value also varies. But if you see the variation of Tc critical temperature with respect to the isotopic mass, as the isotopic mass increased from 199.5 to 203.4, Tc value lowered. So this is a little bit disappointing behavior. So here we can get the relationship in this manner. Tc is proportional to capital M raised to beta. Capital M is the isotopic mass, and beta is the factor over here, which is constant, and beta is equal to 0.5. Generally it is observed. So if you T raised to M raised to minus beta, if we simplify that, we can conclude one more thing. Tc into M raised to beta, that is equal to constant. So if Tc, if you vary the mass, isotopic mass, corresponding to that Tc varies, but because they are inversely proportional, they are not going to move together. As mass increases, Tc value lowers, and that is also a problem, because lower Tc value, it is difficult to achieve. So if we wish to have a, we can say, a superconducting in a normal state or achievable manner, then in that case we need to reduce that isotopic effect. We need to make the material pure. We need to enrich the material so that we can control the mass parameter, and from that we can control Tc parameter. Now if we go further, then in that, okay, this is also called isotopic effect. If definition is asked in the examination, then you need to write down this definition. Corresponding to the isotopic mass, Tc value varies, that is called isotopic effect. And this is one more equation which is very important in the case of numerical calculation. So you need to remember this formula also, because if we say that Tc into M raised to beta, that is constant, so we can make out a cases that Tc1 M1 raised to beta is equal to Tc2 M2 raised to beta. So likewise we can have n number of consequences, and from that we can find out a Tc value for different isotopic mass material. Now we are going to focus on a very important topic in the case of superconductivity, types of superconductor. So superconductors, they are bifurcated or segregated into certain types, and the types, how they are carrying out, or what are the factors on which we are dividing them. That is the important thing we need to remember. Types of superconductor, they are derived initially in the case from the property exhibition of magnetic property. So what kind of magnetic behavior they exhibit, according to that we are dividing into two types. Superconductors, they are divided into type 1, type 2. Now under the type 1 and type 2, what kind of factors or set of parameters which we are observing, so that we can segregate or we can bifurcate the material whatever is available to us into two types. Type 1 and type 2, they are having a certain set of properties. We are going to discuss them, and if it is asked in the examination, write down the differences between type 1 and type 2. On those factors you need to differentiate them. Or if it is asked in the examination as a write down a short note on any of one, then in that case you need to elaborate those points and you need to make out a short note from there. And as if it is the full thing, compare the or differentiate type 1 and type 2 whole thing you need to write down, then you may write them point to point and differentiate them simultaneously. So let's see what are the factors on which type 1 and type 2 they are segregated and how they are differing. Let's see. So I have made a table for that. Factors, type 1, type 2 superconductor, likewise points are there. Then in our first point, we will talk about a factor, that is name. Type 1 and type 2, they are also having a another name. Type 1, they are also called soft superconductor. Type 2, they are called hard superconductor. But you need to remember, these soft and hard words, they are not in terms of mechanical property. Here, as we segregate both in terms of their magnetic property, so soft and hard, they are in terms of how they behave with respect to applied magnetic field. Then second point of difference is HC value. HC, you know, previously we discussed, that is critical magnetic field. So here there is only one critical magnetic field available for the type 1 superconductor. And if you remember the definition of critical magnetic field, this is the minimum amount of magnetic field needed to destroy the state of superconducting. So what is the meaning of this in the case of type 1? If we increase the applied magnetic field at one particular value, you will observe that superconducting state of the material is destroyed. So for type 1, you don't have to go further. It's only one HC value. There is no HC2 available for the type 1 superconductor. But in the case of type 2 superconductor, there are two critical magnetic fields. So if we increase the temperature, if we increase the magnetic field from the certain value, and then we will observe HC1 kind of magnitude, that is critical magnetic field. After that, it will not behave like a perfect superconductor, but it will start behaving little bit oddly, and then later on at HC2, after HC2, you will find it that it's a normal material. It is not having any superconducting property. How they exhibit it, that is also given in this graph or these pictures. You can observe in both the cases. In type 1, if we increase the magnetic field, applied magnetic field, then in that case, applied magnetic field, the line is extending, and then all of a sudden there is a fall, and that shows a superconducting state is destroyed. And the one example for mercury is also plotted there. So if you observe that, it's only, actually it's a previous equation which we already talked about, relation between H and T in a property part. So this relationship is plot for mercury. Then if you observe that graph, it is only single line available. So that single line represents only one HC value corresponding to any temperature. So material is exhibiting only one critical magnetic field. But in the case of type 2, you observe that in a graph, if we increase the magnetic field, initially it is following like a type 1 superconductor only, but then later on it is not following